What do you think is the hardest part for you as I won't call you a crossover because you're still, I mean, yes, you've leaned more toward production and your own video, your own content, but that doesn't mean that, jump back into a movie or something like that. You have the skill set. Where do you, both of you, see the industry going to because your demographic, right? I mean, think about, there's a huge change here where in the past few years with the networks and streaming and content and everybody's viewing it on these and like the game's changing dramatically. Right. And what both of your perspectives as actors, you're in the entertainment industry. What do you, thoughts?
I don't think movies or long form content's going anywhere. I do think it's going to continue to get shorter, but just because it's getting shorter doesn't mean it needs to be hastily put together. Like, you can still make really good social media content that looks like movie quality, and it'll still convey the message. It can be just as powerful as a movie, but it's more condensed. And I think that's where I think it's really good that you are putting like these whole productions together to create something like a project. It's quality. It's not just quality one video after another of just like
good quality.
Yeah,
always is appreciated.
I think quality over quantity is always better. Especially, I think that's the direction things are moving right now, and I think things are going in more of a streaming direction as well.
Right.
And I think that TikTok will be gone. I think YouTube.
Hot take.
I'm sorry. I don't think it'll be around much longer. I think YouTube, their new Shorts platform,
it's great.
It's going to take it over.
Yeah.
They're monetizing it, I think, January of next year. And all the TikTokers are going to leave and go to YouTube. I don't know when this podcast is going to come out, but if you can start posting Shorts right now and getting traction on YouTube, I think it'll be super beneficial for people.
Right. Yeah, I think it's kind of just people are throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the more you move into better quality, like you've invested, I've been in studios you've shot in LA, and I see you really treating it like, hey, I'm bringing you some entertaining content. Yeah. And that's what we want to be, is entertained. Yeah. I have a huge problem with my generation in making movies that are only sad and, everybody's got to be, I don't know whether that's a political statement or cancel culture, but I mean, you have a guy like Todd who did all the movies of the Hangover, and then he does the Joker and he goes, I can't make any more comedy because I'm too worried about being canceled. I'm like, what does that say about entertainment? What does it say as an actor and different things? So what I love about seeing your generation, like you said, you're leaning in, you're like, okay, I'm going to make this video, and you're putting your own money and your own time up to do it. And that's a huge statement, where a lot of people, like you said, they become, instant famous for a minute.
Yeah.
And I'll give you another perspective. A dear friend of ours, the family is Eric Roberts, Julie Roberts' brother, Emma Roberts' dad, pretty famous Hollywood royalty, 700 plus movies, and he's constantly looking for the next movie. And when you think about that, it's not this industry is not a quick, I won the lottery and made a movie.
No.
Right? You've made a bunch of movies. He's been in, I know there's, so you made and you're still out there every day hitting the grind.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I moved to LA when I was 6, and I'm now 16. And it wasn't until the last 3 years that I started getting traction. And nobody is ever going to see all of that hard work that you put behind to get to where you are today. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. No one's going to see the blood, sweat, and tears that you did. And it's just
instant success.
Right, instant success overnight, right? People only see what you show them online. No one sees all the hours of editing you had to stay
mistakes,
up. The mistakes, the all-nighters on your computer.
Camera out of focus you shot, the audio that was...
Yeah. Reshooting a couple videos sometimes because you had no audio. No one ever sees that.
Nobody. That's the fun part. Yep. All right. So
I think it's less of two separate categories of social media influencers and aspiring actors. I feel like we kind of divide a line between them. But really, I think collaboration between creatives and other creatives is super important, because Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, they made one of the most iconic movies ever, and they're two actors.
Right.
Like, they don't have much experience. So if you can, as an actor, if you're not getting the roles that you want, or being in the projects that you want to be in, just go on and make it. And if you have good connections around you, and you know people that know how to make good content, the sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want.
Exactly. And I think going off what you said, a big part of this industry is networking. If you can find a good group of people who want to make content together, I think you're set. That's all you need. You can go create your own content, just like those two actors did.
Yeah. Like we started with bold choices, friendships, trust, and that's what, you even see in the big movies. And because you said it, it's like, if you trust that director as an actor, you'll lean into them. You'll make those big choices where you have to go, and people are like, are you making a fool out of myself? No, you're being funny, and that's good. So,
there's been moments on set where I had to do this like 3-page monologue. It was like a cheesy infomercial. I had to play this like out there character. Oh, thank you.
Look at this. Wave to everybody, Andy. There's a man behind the counter. He's leaving. There's Andy.
Like there's been moments on set where it's not just the director behind the camera, but it's the writer, the script supervisor, the producer, and literally at 5 minutes before I get in front of the camera, everybody pulls me aside and tells me like 5 different things. But then director pulls me aside and he's like, "You're gonna do this." I'm like, "All right." You always listen to the director because it's his vision. It's his. It's his child.
Another thing for me that bothers me, it's when there's and I even struggle this with my own production. It's when there's too many chefs in the kitchen, right? They all want something different, and you never know what to do. And I dislike that. Right? It should always be what the director says.
You just need one person.
Yeah, just one person.
I lose my shit when that happens because everybody's nodding behind the camera. Yeah. Because what happens is, and it inevitably, you and I are doing a scene, or you two are doing a scene, and I turn around as the director. I'm like, I like this, but do me a favor. And as I'm having this conversation, somebody from the side just says, "Hey, why don't you?" And as soon as the "hey" comes out of their mouth, where's everybody's eyes go?
To that person, right?
I lost that moment of the acting of because this business, as we said, is about moments. We even started with even the parents. So when somebody opens their mouth, even eye lines, somebody will walk around, I lose my shit. Because it ruins the moment, it ruins the connection, it ruins that moment that you can't get back, and you have all these people. So it's so true, and you see it so often with kind of new directors or people where you just kind of, and you can do it in a nice way. I tell everybody, please don't say anything, don't move, just come to me after we got the scene in the can. Like, let me get, everything right now is digital. I can keep rolling. I'm not running out of film if I need to put another battery and if it's a great idea. And it has happened, and I grab that moment. I'm like, okay, let's go back and let's and what you'll start seeing with really good directors, and I'm not saying I am one, but one of the things I do is I'll say, hey, now that we had that moment, what do you have that you didn't do in that scene? And lean into it.
Right.
And then sometimes you'll get something really good where you're like, okay, we know we got it. Now where's the bonus round?
Right.
And then I'm like, and I always try when we have time, I'm like, okay, this is the actor's take, and get it out of your situation. And you get magic sometimes.
Yeah, I even do that for my self-tapes, right? It doesn't have to be just for movie productions. You can do it for your self-tapes.
There you go, everybody.
And going back to having too many people giving you input, like, especially on set rather than a parent, because the parent might not know what they're talking about. Everybody on set has their own vision of what this is going to look like and how you should play it. And it's not like their ideas are bad or wrong, but it's just, it might not flow the way it should be. Like, hey, remember this line on page 2? Can you say it like this instead? I think that'd be really funny. But then you go to the director and it's like, that won't flow. Right. It's not little chunks. It's one big... It's a big section that all needs to go together like a puzzle. Like, it's not just little. So if you have too many people, it might not be bad ideas, but it's not going to flow the way that the director might want it to be.
Right.
And you can still take those ideas and interpret them to where it would flow, but
yeah, it's like you may have a great chocolate chip cookie here and great red tomato sauce. You don't put it in there, right? They're different recipes, they're different ingredients. You just don't mix stuff. And the director's the only one that knows what the whole final meal looks like, because it's up in his head that here's what's going to flow. Yeah.